ADOS Baron back with the first in what will be a series of reviews for ToyWorldOrder.com. For the past few years, Bandai has been churning out some great releases for their SH Figuarts line. What I'll be covering is their line of figures based on the Super Sentai property. And what better to kick off my new series than with the team that started the Power Rangers phenomenon in the US, the Red TyrannoRanger from Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger. The figure in this review is the Japanese version, with an American release coming soon with slight alterations to distinguish it as a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers toy. So, for the purpose of this video, I'll be addressing it as a Super Sentai figure, not a Mighty Morphin one. The box he comes packed in is typical for the Figuarts line, but has a lot in terms of identifying it as part of the Super Sentai line, such as the Zyuranger logo on the bottom and Zyuranger in English at the top. Speaking of logos, to the side of said team logo are all the appropriate company logos to help you better indicate this is not a bootleg. So if you're weary of its legitness, double check for the Bandai, Tamashii Nations, and Toei marks. Running throughout the box are numerous shots of the figure in action in addition to his various selling points to get you hooked. Like most Figuarts, Bandai made sure to print their motto on the box in a few places, decreeing that, SH Figuarts is a new standard figure series that incorporates the Bandai action figure art under the theme Pursuing Character Expression Through Humanoid Action. What a mouthful! I can only imagine if a US company like Mattel did the same. You have creative imaginations, make one up yourself! Safely nestled in his tray, TyrannoRanger doesn't come with too much, well, at least in terms of Figuarts. It's kind of sparse, but we get 4 sets of additional hands in typical Figuarts fashion. His trusty Ranger stick in folded, gun, and blade mode, the Thunder Slinger, a combined Thunder Slinger and Thunder Stick, and lastly, his signature weapon, the Ryugekiken, or Dragon Attack Sword. I swear, so much effort was put into crafting these weapons. The detailing is superb. They must have an army of labor ants carrying out the painting, because there is no way a human hand could be so precise. Also with the weapons, this is a Japanese toy, and not confined to the same safety standards as US toys. The result? Really sharp accessories. I could probably slice bread with his sword. Well, maybe. Like many of the Figuarts toys, they don't stand that well on their own, and these are figures that demand to be posed. Unfortunately, he doesn't come packed with a figure stage. You can buy extras online, and they offered a Red Ranger specific stage at San Diego 2013, but the absence of one is kind of a detriment to this release. That's the figure stand racket for you. For this review, he borrowed the one my Vegeta came packed with. The TyrannoRanger figure turned out more stunning than I had imagined. When you look at him, there is no question as to who he is. The attention to detail put into him is absolutely astounding. With a lot of figures, they're usually stylized to some degree, and I never truly feel they are representative of an actual human being. Not here! The physical resemblance and overall physique to an actual suit actor blows my mind. Each time I look at him, I feel like he's about to spring to life. That said, the detailing of the suit is just as fantastic. Every seam line, boot, and glove element have been painstakingly added to where I get giddy just looking at him. They even added the rubber soles to the boots to boot. Haha! Puns! Kind of. Though he may look simple, he's packed with articulation. It's just hidden well. The breakdown is as follows: ball-jointed neck, shoulders, double elbows, ball wrists, ab rocker, waist rocker, hips, double knees, ball ankles, and toes. I don't know. There's something about the ankle-shin area I absolutely love. The combination of fluid articulation and phenomenal sculpting makes it so lifelike. And let's not forget those patented Figuarts wacky hips! While he's pretty posable, I'm always baffled as to why they pick and choose as to what teams get a bicep swivel. Then again, my Revoltechs suffer from the same thing. It may feel odd, but he's still able to contort his arm well. No cuts where the gloves or boots start either. Again, he can pose well, but I would have liked to see these parts with articulation. Now, my only real gripe with Red: his shoulders on the torso. Bandai adds these extra points to allow for more fluid movement in that area, but the way they're built in is too loose, and they can easily turn upside down. I've seen this in other figures, but they're tight. However, with the TyrannoRanger, it covers up the exposed mechanics of his arm much better than others. Did you notice these pieces from earlier? Are you asking yourself, what in the world could those be? Is that a neck bone and patriotic fruit by the foot packed in with this figure? Actually, it's an alternative neck piece and belt. Okay, but what for? Well, do you want the long story or the short version? I don't want to waste a good hour of your time, so the gist of it is there's a satirical Sentai show called Akiba Ranger. In one episode, they run into the red and green Mighty Morphin Rangers, because in their delusional world, which rewrote Sentai history, the American shows are what came first. Then the Japanese adapt that. They strut around like they're the talk of the town, and they have an American flag motif on their necks and belt. It's a really neat and clever pack-in. Actually, a lot of the Akiba Ranger weapons have been packed in with other Figuarts characters which made appearances on the show. To apply them to the figure, we have to tear him asunder by popping him apart at the waist and neck and swapping out the pieces. It's simple enough, but does require more pressure piecing him back together than the dismemberment. You'll notice the belt kind of flaps around a bit. I wish it snapped onto his waist rather than just resting there. Earlier, I mentioned the extra sets of hands he comes with. 3 of his 4 additional pairs are almost exactly the same, but sculpted with varying widths in the palms to hold the corresponding weapons. Kinda wish they stuck with 1 pair to hold all of them. Then we get his sarcastic quotation hands. So, if you feel the need for him to talk down to other figures, Bandai has you covered. Actually, they're sculpted for the gestures you all know and love in the Super Sentai Power Rangers world. Definitely my favorite pair when not holding anything. What I love about this line is the fluidity of motion when posing. It brings the figure to life like none I had ever seen before. Even the super articulated domestic figures we get here in the States have nothing on this guy. While you can pose them in almost whatever manner you please, they don't spring to life like a Figuarts can. It gets me wondering what type of animal sacrifice Bandai had to offer up to achieve such a feat. The TyrannoRanger is readily available at most online stores, but I got mine from HobbyLink Japan for just under $30. If you're looking for him, as opposed to the forthcoming MMPR Red Ranger, I'd act fast because they stopped production pretty quickly after it's released.